And we've got some economic news coming out this morning, a lot of news coming out this morning, as a matter of fact. I'm going to talk about that. Of course, the Fed chairman spoke yesterday, had an opportunity to listen to all of that. It was very, very interesting. As a matter of fact, much more interesting in his initial comments were the question and answer segment. And I got to give Ben Bernanke a lot of credit because I really appreciate that approach that he has taken. He's the first Fed chair to actually have a press conference to give people an opportunity to ask him questions. And I really appreciate the fact that he's doing that because basically some of the questions, and he didn't take just 2 or 3 questions, by the way, and he didn't back down. You know, obviously it was very obvious that the questions weren't pre-approved or selected or anything like that. At least that's what it appeared to me. And, took some great questions, and they were questions that I had, maybe not the average person. So that was good. I really appreciated that. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Of course, we had some economic numbers coming out this morning, and there's some bad news, nothing but bad news coming out of Europe. Right now, all the futures are slated to open in negative territory right now, which is logical. So what I did this morning, it was interesting. I had a chance to scour the headlines, major financial headlines that have come out since 2 o'clock this morning, starting, or at least I went back to about 2 o'clock. I started about 3 o'clock this morning. I went back to 2:03 was the last headline, was the first headline that I really looked at from 2:03 a.m., and that was coming out of Japan. So, but I was looking at all the headlines. I'm scouring the headlines. I'm going through. I'm clicking on stories. I'm reading stories, mostly coming out of international press, and I'm reading all of that. At the same time, I got BBC on, and I'm listening to BBC's financial wrap-up, and I'm talking about the markets as they were beginning to open in Europe. They had been open for an hour or so, and I'm listening to that. Got some other news that I'm listening to at the same time, and I'm trying to digest all this. But as I was going through the headlines, I just want to read. Now, some of this is going to be meaningless to you. None of it is meaningless to me, but it might be meaningless to you. But it's very interesting because there was this incredible overtone of negative headlines. So it starts out, of course, I'll start out with last night's headlines on Oracle. And, of course, Oracle came out with some very bad earnings reports for the third quarter last year. So that started, that was one headline. Europe stocks slump after PMI numbers can't come out. I'll talk about that in a minute. Israel's banks are posting wider than expected losses. PetroChina, that's the big oil company in China, profits fell 13%. H&M first quarter is off. Eurozone, again, PMI signals deeper March downturn than was expected. Germany's Thales Corporation fourth quarter is hurt. AstraZeneca looks like another round of job cuts. Hong Kong markets down sharply. ECB suspends Cyprus bank help. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. Swiss exports fell 2.5% in March. The Cyprus Stock Exchange extended a trading suspension. And by the way, Cyprus banks won't be open now until Tuesday of next week. European stocks fell sharply as Cyprus woes continued. German's DAX index is off and fell. France index falling. UK's index falling. Europe's 600 index down. I mean, I could go, it is unbelievable. So you're looking at nothing but all this bad news. Now, I'm going to put a positive spin on this in a minute, believe it or not. But you're looking at all this bad news, and I'm going through this. So just so you know, this is how I start my day this morning, just in case you're wondering why, wow, Dan doesn't seem very happy about some of the good news. This is what I started with. And it was headline after headline, news report after news report, trying to digest some of these numbers over and over again. So then I start thinking about America, what's happening here, what the Fed has been talking about, and where we are. Now, before I get to the Fed and the positive part about this, I said I'm going to put on this. Let me just give you some other headlines because I'm afraid I'll forget.